Hey everybody, welcome to a new series on this channel called Should You Buy? Now today we are talking about Battlefield Hardline, okay? So, I just got done playing the beta. The beta was open to everybody and I downloaded it on my Xbox One and I've been having hours of enjoyment playing this game. Now, a lot of people were skeptical about Battlefield Hardline, and I was originally too, about it seems more like a mod and it doesn't stay true to its Battlefield roots. But after playing this game for hours and hours on end, I've decided that this is a Battlefield game. This doesn't feel like a mod, and you could say that about any other Battlefield game as well. It feels like a mod, because all it does is add new maps. At least with Battlefield Hardline, they're trying something new. They've added new game modes, they've changed up the scenarios of where you are in combat, and it feels like a Battlefield game, and that's something that I think people were curious about and weren't sure. I think they thought that this wasn't going to feel like a good Battlefield game like all the other ones. Now, don't get me wrong, this game still has its problems and some of the things that need to be worked out, just like all the other Battlefields have. But those things are actually kind of minor so far from what I've seen. Now again, I can't talk for the full game because I haven't played the full game yet, but we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of Battlefield Hardline, okay? So one of the main things that I think is really crucial to this game is that it still feels like a Battlefield game, like I said earlier. Now, some of the game modes actually add some new perspectives on the game. Now, some people weren't sure about Heist. Now, Heist is a game mode kind of like, if you want to call it Payday a little bit, if you've ever played that game. Payday is a game to where you rob banks and stuff like that. Now, Heist in Battlefield is kind of like the exact same thing. You have your thieves, or whatever you want to call them, versus your police. And basically, you're trying to rob a bank, and that's all this promotion. I think this is what people really weren't sure about with this game type, was it just feels like a mod. But again, after playing it, and after playing Heist, it is a very fast-paced game. It's a very close quarters paced game, but it still feels like Battlefield. It feels like all the other team deathmatch games. Now, only difference is, I think it's a little bit one-sided, which I hope they fix, because if you've played Battlefield Hardline and you've played the beta, you might be like, well, one group always wins. Now, that is very true. I feel like the police always win, and I feel like some of the things need to be think over a little bit more and fine-tuned a little bit, because one thing I've noticed is that the cops always win, and it's not always, but 99% of the time, in my opinion, maybe 95%. Now, I think what they need to do is nerf some of the guns as well. Now, some of the guns have always been overpowered in Battlefield, or in any game for that matter. But from what I've been able to tell, some of the guns that really need to be nerfed a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, is the M16 and the AK-74U. Now, the M4, I've heard mixed reviews about that, if it's overpowered or not. It all depends on who's using it. But I really feel like after using the M16 is really overpowered, especially when it's silenced, and it kills people extremely fast. Now, I've heard that it's always been overpowered in other Battlefield games, but I've used the M16 in like Battlefield 4 and 3, and it was never that overpowered. And I think they need to nerf it a little bit. Now, maybe they made it that strong because they wanted to make it a little bit easier for people to play the beta, and that's something that companies usually do. They kind of make things a little bit easier so people are having a good time and not getting frustrated. Now, speaking of making things easier, I am a sniper myself in Battlefield. I snipe almost 99% of the time, and one thing I've noticed about Hardline, it is very easy to snipe. It is very easy for somebody to pick up the sniper rifle and get a kill almost instantly. Now, some of my friends who usually never snipe, they picked up the sniper rifle, like I said, and their first shot they got a kill. Now, it wasn't just luck, because then they got one again from like 400 meters out. I won't say that, but out of a moving car. Now, this could be a conflict for some people. Now, for me, I think sniping is a little bit too easy, and it has been for the past 2 games. Battlefield 3, sniping was very difficult. You actually had to account for the bullet drop and for the lead of your shot. Now, in Battlefield 4 and in Hardline, you have a new feature on your sniper, and it sets your range. And now the range, I understand that real guns actually have this, from what I've been told, but you don't really have to lead your shots anymore, and you really don't have to account for bullet drop. And I kind of miss the challenge because now you see so many people sniping, and I really hope it doesn't fall into that Call of Duty quick scoping thing to where everybody's using a sniper rifle, because that's not what Battlefield's about. Battlefield is about the close quarter games, and you have a couple snipers on your team, but not your entire team is sniping. Now, again, I think this could be changed a little bit, and again, it might change in the actual game, because that's usually what happens is, like I said earlier, companies make it a little bit easier during the beta so people can enjoy it. Now, let's talk about the second game mode that was in the beta, and that game mode was called Hotwire. Now, Hotwire has been the game type I've played the most, I think, out of all my, like, probably 10 hours of playing this game already. And reason for that is it's a very fast-paced game, kind of like Heist, but things are a little bit more spread out, and it's a little bit bigger maps, kind of like Battlefield, what you're used to if you've ever played Battlefield before. And it feels like a new game mode, which I like because it is a new game mode, and it's something that I haven't really seen in Battlefield too much, unless I'm just forgetting. And basically, if you haven't played the beta, I will tell you what Hotwire is. The best way I can kind of describe it is it's kind of like Domination from Call of Duty, and that's something that most people can refer to. But the difference is, instead of having just a flag in one spot, you actually have cars as the flags. Now, they're not really flags, but they're cars, okay? Just trying to make that clear. And the difference is that instead of the flags being in one place, the cars actually move around the map, which causes everybody to run around. And that's what you're looking for in a game, is you're not looking for people camping, and unless they're snipers, it's really like pointless in Battlefield. And even you see all the snipers running around trying to get to new positions to get to the cars. Now, this is something that I like. It's causing people to think, it's causing people to move, which causes more of a fast-paced game, which I think is great for this game. And I think it's what this game kind of needed a little bit, because Battlefield, it's always been a pretty quick game, but not a fast game. Now, these kind of game modes, I feel like, are a good mix between things, but I'm sure you're still going to have your other game modes put into the actual full game. For example, they also have Conquest Large and Battlefield Hardline Beta. Now, we're not really going to talk about Conquest, just because we already know what Conquest is. It's basically team deathmatch with flags. That's basically all it is. You just have to hold the flag. Okay? Now, I think there's a couple things that need to be fixed in this game, and we've talked about a couple of them. And those are, some of the guns need to be nerfed, like the M16, and sniping needs to be a little bit harder, in my opinion. Now, some people actually might like that, but there are some bugs that need to be fixed with the game. One of them is when you're in a chopper, you need to, it's really laggy when you aim on the sights, and it's like really choppy moving forward. Now again, I'm 99% sure this will be fixed in the main game, but in the beta, I'm just trying to clarify, like, from what I've seen, that needs to be fixed. Now, it's not that big of a problem because you can still shoot, but it makes things really difficult for the passengers and the actual pilot himself. But that's not really that big of a deal because 99% of the time you're not really in a chopper unless you're only going for choppers. But there are some other things that kind of need to be fixed that you will run into later on. One of them that wasn't a big deal, but the grappling hook, which is something new that we will talk about, is you have to get in in the perfect spot, otherwise it won't work. And it gets really frustrating because you're just standing there looking up at the roof and you can't shoot it. And speaking of the grappling hook, there are some new not materials, but items in the game that I think are actually really cool for the game. And what those are is you have the grappling hook, like we just talked about, and the zip line, and you also have a couple other ones that we'll get into. But I think these two things are really unique to Battlefield, and I'll tell you why. Because usually you have snipers or people up on a roof, and there's only like 2 ways up. But now, with these grappling hooks and zip lines, you have 4 ways down, or maybe even more than that. You have 5 ways up. And that kind of makes things more difficult for the who's ever on the roof. It keeps people on their toes, and it makes it to where you can't really camp as much. You can't go up on top of this roof and just go camp. Now, the zip line, from a sniper's point of view, because I'm a sniper, I like the zip line a lot because even though I'm not up on the roofs all the time, if I want to go from one roof to the other, it's just fun to do. And it's just fun because you can say, I want to go from this roof to that roof over there. And you can just zip line it all the way across. Now, you do run the risk of being seen when you're going through the air like that, but that's a risk that you take with anything. Some of the other why do I keep saying materials? Some of the other things and stuff they have is some new equipment, and the equipment's actually it's really interesting because you have ones that are actually great for sniping and distractions. Like you have one that's a speaker that actually like displays a gun sound, so people think you're in one area when you're actually not. You have a camera, which I think they should rename the camera because you don't see like a little picture up in your screen. It just tells you when somebody's walking by it and when somebody's close by. Now, that doesn't remind me of a camera. I wish they would actually put like a small little screen up in like the right corner or in like the bottom right corner, you know, so you can actually see like what's going on. And that way, the game doesn't have to tell you, and if you miss it, hey, you're out of luck. Somebody else will kill you. Now, you still have the battle packs like you did in Battlefield 4, which something new I like is they have vouchers, which are actually kind of cool because you can actually just unlock stuff for any gun. And I think it's unique, you know? I mean, I like the feeling of battle packs. It feels like you're opening something every time. Now, battle packs I feel like are going to be something that you can buy with your microtransactions, and hopefully there's not going to be too many of those in this game, but you never know. I'm not really sure where you would see too many microtransactions though, and I'll tell you why. In this game, you have, instead of XP, you have money. Now, things are a little bit different there because instead of your usual XP, because it's more of a heist game and like cops and robbers kind of deal, it's really all about the money in this game. Now, your money is your XP is the best way to describe this. And luckily, money isn't too hard to get. Some of the guns are like $40,000, which might sound like a lot of money, but if you play your objectives right, you play the game like it's meant to be played, and you help your team, you will get that $40,000 really quick. Now, one thing that's really cool is you don't have to buy attachments for your guns. I'm sure you could later on, but the attachments just come with using that weapon. So after using the M16 for so long, I unlock more red dots, and those red dots cost so much money. And so I think the only place you would see microtransactions in this game is for buying money. Of course, I'm sure they will have that, and probably the battle packs, and I'm pretty sure they will have that with battle packs because they did have it in 4, I believe. So basically, we've talked about a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that's really interesting about the game, but now it comes to the end of the video to where, is the game worth it? Does this count as Battlefield? Now, like I told you guys earlier, I never considered buying Battlefield Hardline. I was skeptical about it, just like a lot of other people were who played Battlefield before. But after playing this beta for myself, and after having hours and hours of fun, and that's what you're looking for in a game. You're looking for the fun. You're looking for something that takes your time and makes it fly by. And that's exactly what this game does. It does exactly that. Even the people who say they don't like it, guess what? You spend hours and hours of your time playing it, so obviously it's doing its job. And this is just the beta. So people are spending hours and hours playing the beta. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for Battlefield Hardline. I think it's a new step forward in Hardline, and especially in the Battlefield history, because you actually have these new maps that you haven't really had before. I mean, you've had like the urban environments before, but not like this. You have a lot more new stuff, and I think they're taking a step forward. Instead of sticking with Battlefield and just basically saying, here's a big open area, go fight in it, they're changing things up with new game modes, and the heist modes add another game type and another feature into the game, which again, they're taking a step forward, which we have to respect. They're trying something new. Now, again, is this game going to be worth it? I think it will be. I think it's worth the $60 that you're going to put into it, because I've already spent over 10 hours playing the free beta. So if it's going to make me play even these maps for even more hours and hours on end, yes, I'm going to spend my money on something that I'm going to enjoy. So if you like Battlefield before, I think you will like this game. It still feels like a good Battlefield game once you get into it. At first you might be like, this doesn't feel like Battlefield, but as soon as you get and you stop like worrying about that, it still feels like Battlefield. And that's something I'm trying to kind of preach here, because that's something that people were not sure about. So I think this game is worth it. I think if you've never played Battlefield before, this is a good game to start on. And if you have played Battlefield before, this is definitely a good one to get as well. So that kind of ends this conclusion of this video. Hopefully you guys like this, and I will be trying to do other videos for should you buy, like other games that come out. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this kind of helped you decide whether Battlefield Hardline is a good map for you, or not a good map, but a good game for you to buy, and is it worth your money? And my answer is yes. I think it is worth your money. Out of a scale of 1 to 10, I would give Hardline, the beta at least maybe a 8 out of 10, because it's very well balanced besides some of the things that need to be fixed, but any game has those problems. So bye bye guys, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys later, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you will buy Battlefield, and you will also be seeing some Let's Plays coming soon. So bye bye.